Good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Shehan Ranatunga. Let me start off by wishing all of our viewers a happy Thai Pongal. Now, before we go any further, let's first take a look at your headlines.
Hindu devotees worldwide celebrate Thai Pongal. 13th Amendment to the Constitution will be fully implemented in the coming years. President Ranil Wickremesinghe gives an undertaking. President tours Jaffna. Protesters oppose visit. Police fire water cannon to disperse protesters in Nallur. Ministry of Agriculture confirms disease spreading across paddy cultivations has affected all 25 districts. Farmers advised to refrain from using large quantities of fungicides. All is ready to import eggs. State Trading Corporation confirms. Department of Animal Production and Health says permission has not been granted to import eggs. Special Janaraja Perahara to be held in Kandy in line with the 75th Independence Day. Will the Sri Lanka Freedom Party remain in the Helicopter Alliance? Political Committee of the party convenes. Plane crash in Nepal. Death toll exceeds 60.
Now, Hindu devotees across the world celebrate Thai Pongal today to extend their gratitude to the sun god for the strength provided to make their agricultural activities a success. And the day highlights the importance of the quality of gratitude.
Hindu devotees celebrate the festival with much enthusiasm, wishing prosperity and success for their families and the country after offering the first harvest of the first month to the sun. Religious observances began at the early hours of the day. Hindu devotees observe the tradition of boiling milk on Pongal, as it is believed to symbolize a happy future. Thereafter, devotees prepare the Pongal rice, which is of great significance during the Thai Pongal festival.
This island nation is a multi-ethnic, multicultural, multi-religious country. Thai Pongal is celebrated in order to thank the sun, Mother Nature and other farm animals who contribute to a bountiful harvest. Now, this is usually a 4-day celebration. However, in Sri Lanka, this is a 2-day festival.
The first ritual of the Thai Pongal festival is to offer the Pongal rice with turmeric to the sun god. Hindu devotees are joined by many other communities in Sri Lanka in their celebrations of the festival of Thai Pongal, as the celebrations are centered around the quality of gratitude. A special Thai Pongal celebration was organized this morning at the office of the opposition leader. Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa was also present at the event. Thai Pongal rituals were also observed at the head office of the Capital Maharaja Group. Residents of 3rd Lane, Swarna Road in Havelock Town, Vellavatta celebrated Thai Pongal this morning. People from the Sinhalese, Tamil, Muslim and Burger communities joined in the festivities. This is how Thai Pongal was celebrated across the country today.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe travelled to Jaffna today to participate in celebrations organised for the Thai Pongal festival and met with several religious leaders. The President visited the Jaffna Sri Nagavihara this morning and engaged in religious observances. The President also met with the chief incumbent of the Nagavihara, Venerable Migahajadure Siri Vimalatheru. Later, President Wickremesinghe met with Reverend Sri Somasundaram, Nallai Adina Ashramadipati and received his blessings. The President also visited the official residence of the Bishop of Jaffna and had a brief cordial discussion with Dr. Justin Bernard Gnana Pragasam.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe says the government hopes to implement the 13th Amendment to the Constitution in its entirety during the coming years. The President made this statement speaking at the National Thai Pongal ceremony held at the Durga Hall in Jaffna.
We are looking at fully implementing the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. That is not only an issue in the north. Chief ministers in the south are also asking for this to be implemented. Therefore, we are going to hold discussions and implement it. So let's do these systematically during the coming years. Poverty, hunger and unemployment are not issues that are limited to only the Sinhala and Tamil community. We are all suffering. We must unite and come out of this. A protest was staged against the President's visit to Jaffna today. Relatives of the families of the disappeared, university students and representatives of civil societies joined the protest. Police prevented the protesters from marching towards Nallur from the Jaffna University. Police then fired water cannons to disperse the protesters.
Now, the Department of Agriculture announced today that the yellow spot disease spreading among paddy cultivation has now spread to all 25 districts of the country.
The spread of the yellow spot disease in paddy fields began to be reported this Maha season about 2 months after the crops were seeded. Chief Agricultural Expert at the Department of Agriculture, Rohana Tilakasiri, said that crops showed signs of potassium deficiency and informed farmers not to use excessive amounts of insecticides and fungicides. Farmers across the island showed us how their crops have been affected. This is the state of the paddy fields in Aralaganvila, Arunapura and Ihalawav areas in Polonnaruwa.
මේ ජරා පොහොරක් දීලා ඉවරලා දැන් කන්න දෙකක් මේ කුඹුරුවට අපි ගැහුවා මේ ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මහත්තයාගේ මේ ඔලොමොට්ටල උපදේශකෝ දීලා එදා ඉඳලා මේ කාබනික කියලා මගුලක් දීලා ඒකෙන් අපි විනාශ කරලා දැම්මා කුඹුරු ව්‍යායාමේ කහවෙලානේ තියෙන්නේ මේ ලෙඩේ ඇවිල්ලා මේ කුඹුරු වලට ඒ හින්දා අපිට මේ හැමතුමාට කියන්න මේ බලලා අපිට වන්දියක් දෙන්න කියලා.
This is Mahakandarava in Anuradhapura. 3,000 acres of the 7,000 acres of fields cultivated have been affected by this disease.
මේ තියෙන්නේ මැරිලා මහත්තයෝ මේට වඩා මොනවාද මැරෙන්න තියෙන්නේ කොහෙ මේ පන්දරල් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මේකට ගිනි තියලා 60 වෙනකොට ගිනි තියලා අපි ටිකක් හරි හිත සතුටු කරගන්නවා දැන් ගිනි හරි ගත්තනේ.
This is the situation of paddy fields in Mahayanganaya. This disease has spread to paddy fields cultivated by the indigenous community in the country as well. These are paddy fields in Dambana in Mahayanganaya.
කුඹුරු වලට අපේ පවුල් වලට විලා තියෙන මේ ආර්ථික පරිහානිය මෙන්න මේක මහත්තයෝ මේකට කවුරු හරි මැදිහත් වෙලා මොකක් හරි සාධාරණයක් කරන්න.
Speaking on the Mavata program aired on our sister channel Sirasa TV a year ago, experts and intellectuals pointed out that the ad hoc use of substandard and unregulated organic fertilizer will destroy the soil and cultivations. Senior Professor of Agriculture Buddhima Rambe, who a year ago fearlessly spoke out against the ludicrous decision of government at the time to ban fertilizer and use organic fertilizer, 100%, spoke to us today.
The ad hoc decisions made by the government led to a situation where many people had produced organic fertilizer without any standard and sold it to farmers across the island. However, if these worms that cause this disease are present in the soil or in whatever they distributed among the farmers and they used it in their fields, we cannot prevent this disease from spreading. Therefore, we need to track the source of this. It is only if we identify the source that we can prevent this from spreading further. Finding the root cause will also enable us to prevent anyone taking such ad hoc decisions in the future.
Agrarian organizations point out that the government must be held responsible for the damage caused by the spread of this disease. They also point out that it is the duty of the government to compensate the farmers for the damage caused.
We demand that the government immediately pay damages for the destruction that they have caused. We demand the government to pay at least 100,000 rupees per damaged hectare.
The inept decision of the former government, led by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, to ban chemical fertilizer that destroyed Sri Lanka's cultivations has also severely affected the egg and other animal farming industries. The supply of animal feed, including maize, was affected due to the lack of fertilizer, and poultry farmers are facing a severe crisis. The poultry and egg industries were hit hard. The equilibrium of the market crashed. Although politicians who took these inept decisions are no longer in power, the country is still suffering the consequences of their decisions. The State Trading Corporation says they are ready to import eggs in order to control the prices of eggs in the market. Chairman of the corporation, Asari Valisundara, says the Department of Animal Production and Health was informed to provide guidelines to import eggs.
We have completed all preparations and informed the Department of Animal Production and Health to provide their guidelines. As soon as we receive the guidelines, we can expedite the process and import eggs to Sri Lanka. We have completed all other preparations. When we receive the relevant guidelines, we can expedite the process.
However, Director General of the Department of Animal Production and Health, Dr. Hemali Kotalawala, says eggs cannot be imported from India as bird flu is rapidly spreading in the country.
Bird flu is spreading in several provinces in India right now. Bird flu is not present in Sri Lanka. Therefore, the Department of Animal Production and Health cannot recommend importing eggs from India to the Controller General of Imports and Exports.
This was the response of the chairman of the State Trading Corporation.
We haven't been informed of this in writing from the Director General. We are hoping to import eggs from Tamil Nadu. They have guaranteed that bird flu or any other disease was not reported in the province for the past 12 years. India is one of the main suppliers to other countries.
He also says the State Trading Corporation received directives to sell an imported egg at a price of 40 rupees in the domestic market.
We can import eggs from China at a maximum cost of about 36 rupees. The subject minister set a price ceiling of around 40 rupees to sell them in Sri Lanka.
Traders refrained from selling eggs in certain areas.
Because there is no control over eggs, we stopped selling eggs. There is no plan here at all. It's the same for eggs. No one is being responsible. Government thinks these chickens will lay their eggs on the street and start selling them.
Amid the economic crisis and political instability in the country, Sri Lankans are facing another burning issue. The lives of people who are finding it difficult to purchase food are made worse as they also can't get the medicine they need. It is no secret that the shortage of medicines has affected the entire country. Even in-house patients at general hospitals are now forced to buy their medicine from private pharmacies. People who are unable to satisfy their basic needs now live in uncertainty about their lives. This was the situation in Kandy.
There is a medicine shortage in hospitals. Many people all come to private pharmacies to purchase them. But they have nowhere to buy them because it's expensive. So they leave when they hear the prices.
Today I brought the medicine and it cost over 9,000 rupees. This is unbearable. There is no plasters in hospitals now. Nothing is available. I came to buy medicine in the morning, but now they are out of stocks. We looked everywhere. They say that there is nothing we can do. Patients are dying every day as they can't purchase medicine.
This was a situation in Anuradhapura today.
Since the hospitals are out of medicine, they send them to the pharmacies. But even the pharmacies don't have medicine. Things that should be done by hospitals are done by pharmacies. But even the pharmacies do not have medicine. It's been 20 days since the patient was brought here. The hospital didn't check blood sugar levels for 20 days. We did the checks privately. One costs 120 rupees and we need 4 of them per day. So we save the patient by engaging in daily labor. Everything is for money. Now they brought medicine for the wound that cost 6,500 rupees. We are helpless.
We do not have a stable mode of income. It is very hard for us to live. We have to now privately purchase the medicine that we got for free before.
How can the shortage of medicine across the island be addressed? Minister of Health Kehelia Rambukwala said arrangements have already been made to bring down essential medicines.
Sri Lanka is currently undergoing a severe economic crisis. Among the efforts made to get out of this crisis, Sri Lanka's interactions with the international community are of vital importance. Now, we must bear in mind that our position in the Sea of Sri Lanka and our standing geopolitically are of great significance in maintaining these international relations. Therefore, it is important that we are aware of the significance of diplomatic relations so that we consider them as a matter of priority. Now, similarly, the projects taking place in the Sea of Sri Lanka are also important. Let's now take a look at some of the significant developments in Sri Lanka's international relations.
The high-ranking delegation of the Chinese Communist Party, who are on an official visit to the country, launched the Kit of Lover initiative to donate school necessities and food packs to unprivileged families. The program was conducted in the village of Pannila, located in the area under the purview of the Horana Divisional Secretariat. Dry rations and school equipment were donated to 106 underprivileged families. Speaker Mahinda Yapabewardena, Vice Minister of the International Department of the Communist Party of China's Central Committee, Chen Zhu, and a delegation from China were present at the event.
Until now, the Chinese government and the Chinese people have come forward and helped us without any conditions. Some people here may not know that in 1955 we signed a rubber rice agreement with China. You are the grandchildren of that generation. Today, representatives of the Chinese government have come here to strengthen that relationship with all of you. We are certain that this bond will continue to be strengthened in the future. The purpose of conducting this kind of activity today is to restore livelihoods. Also, under the One Road, One Belt initiative, we focus on how we can take care of the welfare and the development of the people of our neighboring countries. We hope to provide Sri Lanka with projects worth $200,000 or 73 million rupees within the next 2 years. These will focus on projects in education, poverty alleviation, medicine and infrastructure development. The Indian Navy ship INS Delhi arrived at the Trincomalee port this morning in an official visit. The Sri Lanka Navy welcomed the ship and the crew according to Navy traditions. INS Delhi is a destroyer-type warship with a length of 163.2 meters. Captain Shihar Hussain Azad is the commanding officer of this ship, sailing with a crew of 390. A meeting between the commander of the Navy, Captain Shihar Hussain Azad, and the commander of the Eastern Naval Command and volunteer Marine, Rear Admiral Dhammika Kumara, is scheduled to be held tomorrow at headquarters of the Eastern Naval Command. INS Delhi will leave the island on the 17th of January.
The Samudram shipping canal project, which can severely affect the future of Sri Lanka, is being discussed once again, with several political parties that raised objections about the project changing their stance. The Samudram shipping canal is a project proposed to create an international shipping route in the shallow straits between India and Sri Lanka above Jaffna. The idea of creating a passage for huge ships in the Sea of Sri Lanka by digging a canal across the Pork Strait was first discussed by the British in the year 1860. This would have allowed international ships to pass the Sea of Sri Lanka through a shorter route instead of going around the island nation. However, if the project is implemented in the Sea of Sri Lanka, operations at the Colombo port will shift towards India. According to experts, this project will have a severe impact on the operations of the Hambantota and Trincomalee ports. Experts further point out that the constant naval and deep-sea mining activities will have a negative impact on the fishing industry in Mannar. In short, it will be a deadly blow to Sri Lanka's economy. The project initially got the green light from the Atal Bihar Vajpayee-led government in the year 1998. On the 2nd of July 2005, Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh launched the 24 billion Indian rupee project. However, due to strong opposition, the Samudram shipping canal project had to be halted. The Indian public objected to this project, claiming that it will damage the Rambe, also known as Adam's Bridge. The Rambe is a chain of limestone shoals between Rameswaram Island off the southeastern coast of Tamil Nadu and Mannar Island on the northwestern coast of Sri Lanka. It is of religious significance to Hindu devotees. Of the 16 limestone shoals in the 32-kilometer stretch between Thalai Mannar and Daneshkodi, 8 belong to Sri Lanka and the remaining 8 belong to India. What are they trying to do now? The debate of the Samudram shipping canal project came to the limelight once again after a proposal was tabled by Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu M.K. Stalin. The statement made by the Indian central government's Science Minister Jitendra Singh that it is difficult to say whether the Adam's Bridge or Rambe really existed between India and Sri Lanka, as mentioned in the Ramayana, is a telltale sign of the central government's willingness to take up the project. The latest proposal suggests that the project be carried out in a manner that does not harm the Adam's Bridge. Tamil Nadu BJP President K. Annamalai said his party is willing to work with the central government to support the Samudram project. What is the latest situation? Indian Hindu organizations, which have remained silent so far, have protested against the Samudram shipping canal project. Indian media reported that some organizations have condemned the project as an act against religion. According to Indian media, Hindu organizations have stated that if the government damages the Rambe, it will be similar to shooting them in the chest. They also accuse the Indian government of working towards the election targets of certain people. What do politicians in Sri Lanka say about this project that affects Sri Lanka so much? So far, no politician seems to be sensitive to this issue, which has a great impact on our country, economy, and the environment.
News First with the people.
Will elections be held before the 10th of March 2023? 55 days more.
Now, the National Elections Commission requests the government, political parties, the people of the country and other stakeholders involved to assist in creating an environment to hold free and fair elections.
The chairman of the Election Commission, Nimal Punchiheva, pointed out several specific attempts made by various parties to disrupt the election even before the date for the calling of nominations. Among those incidents are the false statements made by certain ministers and parliamentarians regarding the election, the letter sent by the Secretary of the Ministry of Public Administration directing district secretaries to temporarily suspend accepting deposits for the local government election, as well as the reporting of false information by certain media outlets regarding discussions between the Election Commission and the Inspector General of Police. Against such a backdrop, the Election Commission has appealed to all stakeholders to support the Commission in creating an environment to hold a free and fair election. Meanwhile, many political parties are currently preparing their nomination lists. The People's Freedom Alliance, contesting under the symbol of the helicopter, began preparing nomination lists for the Colombo district today. Members of 12 parties representing the new alliance met at the head office of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
The discussion about the nomination for the Colombo district of the People's Freedom Alliance, made up of 12 parties, was held today at the Sri Lanka party headquarters. It should have been loud and tense here when you have 12 parties, but everything was conducted cordially.
We are
inside the Sri Lanka Freedom Party headquarters. If the Sri Lanka Freedom Party had come out from the alliance, they must first throw us out of here. Nothing like that has happened. Why would people who are leaving sit with us and discuss dividing divisions? There is no way for us to fall from the helicopter. There might be some people who will fall.
Will the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, which is a major stakeholder of the new alliance, continue to contest the local government elections under the symbol of the helicopter? The political committee of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party met at the official residence of the party chairman Maithripala Sirisena and held discussions in this regard.
We took several decisions and we will announce them tomorrow. As a party, we need to strengthen our party, and there is so much to do to achieve that. Discussions are conducted on various issues. We will be contesting under the symbol of the hand in the north and the east. Apart from that, several decisions were reached during the discussions of the political committee held today. I hope to inform the Executive Council tomorrow.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa attended a meeting of the Samagi Vihidum Balaganaya in the Kaluthara district.
Anyone can make a speech. However, the people of this country want action. This country needs foreign exchange and dollars. The people of this country must decide. Will they choose an eloquent, fun-filled speeches, or will they choose practical action? I have the ability to talk with any leader in the world in English and convince them to bring in resources to the country. Let's try to compete in bringing funds and dollars to the country. Let us take over and bring in foreign aid from wherever possible for the people of this country without burdening them. We will do it and show you. There is no point in other political gimmicks. The country and the 22 million citizens must decide who can do this. Don't be deceived. Understand the reality.
The government has decided to hold a special Janaraja Perahera on the 19th of February to mark the occasion of the 75th Independence Day celebration. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said this special Janaraja Perahera will be centered around Kandy. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister also said that permission has been sought from the Mahanayakas of the Askeri and Malwatu chapters regarding a special Dalada exhibition on the 4th of March. In other news, the Samagi Janabala Vegaya staged demonstrations across the country today. They are demanding the government to immediately stop all preparations to increase electricity tariffs, lower the cost of living and allow people to vote at an election.
Deputy National Organizer of the Samagi Janabala Vegaya, Parliamentarian S.M. Marika, and party members gathered at the Kolonnava Junction demanding to immediately reduce electricity tariffs and the cost of living that has severely impacted the people. The group then marched from the Kolonnava Junction to Vellampitiya.
The best way to express the opinions on the problems faced by these people is through an election. Ranil Wickramasinghe and the Rajapakshas are now planning to take away the democratic rights of the people. On the 20th, we will hand over nominations to all 340 local government bodies in Sri Lanka. If elections are postponed, we will launch a continuous series of protests across Sri Lanka and send Ranil Wickramasinghe, Rajapakshas and everyone home.
Ranil Wickramasinghe Rajapaksa
A protest was also held in Mount Lavinia against the increase in electricity tariffs and the oppression of the people.
Every day the prices of goods are rising. The minister and the president are trying to further increase the electricity tariffs. What these people want is for you to stop what you are doing. Our people are suffering day by day.
Another protest was held this morning in the Theldenia city.
This group of thieves should go home immediately. If they don't go, we won't have a country for our children. Therefore, allow us to build this country and leave.
The Samagi Jana Balawege held a protest in Variapula today, urging the government to lower the electricity tariffs, reduce the cost of living and provide relief to the people.
The Sitawaka Odyssey special tourist train started plying from Colombo Fort today to promote tourism in Sitawaka.
The special train runs from the Colombo Fort railway station to the Wagga railway station, stopping at tourist hotspots along the way. Passengers will have the opportunity to see the Rannuduella Falls, Kumarialla Falls and Gorakalla Falls. They'll also see the Tumodara Bridge, Galbangalava or Rock House, the Kodigala Mountain, also known as Flat Rock, the Sitawaka Wet Zone Botanic Gardens, Labugama and Kalatuwava Reservoir. The first class tickets are priced at 500 rupees and the second class tickets cost 300 rupees. The Sitawaka Odyssey starts every Sunday at 7 a.m. from the Colombo Fort railway station.
Julius Creasy, standing strong as one of the island's oldest and largest law firms cemented on steadfast traditions, marked their 144th anniversary on the 1st of January.
A predominantly civil law firm, Julius Creasy has occasionally entered the fray in criminal courts as well. Having been involved in a range of landmark cases, it has several noteworthy initiatives on record. Julius Creasy serve as a testimony to tradition and expertise, continued and revitalized across the decades, celebrated its 144th anniversary on the 1st of January. Continuing its proven legacy of legal services with the agility and flexibility to suit the dynamics of today, Julius Creasy is a sought-after legal entity in Sri Lanka.
Now on to a headline-making story. At least 68 people were killed today when a domestic flight crashed in Pokhara in Nepal.
The Yeti Airlines flight from Kathmandu to the tourist town of Pokhara crashed on landing, catching fire. Videos posted on social media show an aircraft flying low over a populated area before spinning sharply. There were 68 passengers on board, including at least 15 foreign nationals and 4 crew members. Hundreds of Nepali soldiers are involved in the operation at the crash site in the gorge of the Seti River, just 1.5 kilometers from the airport. Rescue operations have been difficult because of a raging fire at the wreckage. Nepal Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachanda called an emergency cabinet meeting soon after the crash, and the Nepal government has formed a 5-member commission of inquiry to probe the incident.
More than 80,000 Israeli protesters have rallied in Tel Aviv against plans by the new right-wing coalition government to overhaul the judiciary.
The reforms would make it easier for Parliament to overturn Supreme Court rulings, among other things. Protesters describe Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's proposed changes as an attack on democratic rule. It follows the installment of the most religious and hardline government in Israeli history. Foreign media reported rallies were also held outside the Prime Minister's residence in Jerusalem and in the northern city of Haifa. Among those opposed are Israel's Supreme Court Chief Justice Esther Hayat and the country's Attorney General.
Now over to Iran. It has executed a former Deputy Defense Minister on allegations of spying for the United Kingdom.
The judiciary's official news outlet confirmed that Ali Riza Akbari, a British-Iranian dual national, was hanged after being convicted of corruption on earth and acting against national security by spying for British intelligence. It added that Akbari was earlier sentenced to death for harming the country's internal and external security by passing on intelligence. It added, quote, "The actions of the British spy service in this case have shown the value of the convict, the importance of his access and the enemy's trust in him." Unquote. It claimed he had received training from the MI6, established shell companies to thwart Iranian intelligence services, had intelligence meetings in various countries including Austria and the UAE, and received British citizenship as a reward for betraying his country. Britain's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak called it a callous and cowardly act carried out by a barbaric regime with no respect for the human rights of their own people.
Now here's an update on a story that's been trending on social media in recent times. Now several luxury cars have been seized from British-American influencer Andrew Tate's property in Bucharest.
Andrew Tate was detained alongside his brother Tristan last month as part of an investigation into allegations of human trafficking and rape, which they deny. Reuters reported cars, including a Rolls-Royce, BMW and Mercedes-Benz, were removed from the property yesterday. Tate's lawyer was not immediately available for comment. On Tuesday, Tate lost a bid to end his detention in Romania after a court rejected his appeal and said he should remain in custody.
Now on to some cricket news. A 4-wicket haul by Mohammad Siraj and an unbeaten 166 by Virat Kohli guided India to a record 317-run victory against Sri Lanka in the third and final ODI match this evening. Now, the humiliating defeat suffered by the Lankans is the largest margin of defeat in ODI history.
Thanks to match-winning big knocks from Virat Kohli, who scored 166 not out, and Shubman Gill, who scored 116. Later, Siraj scalped 4 wickets, while Mohammad Shami and Kuldeep Yadav got 2 wickets each, as Sri Lanka were bundled out for 73. With this win, India swept the 3-match ODI series 3-0 and also registered the biggest ever win by any team in the 50-over format.
And that brings to a close our news for tonight. Thank you for watching. Good night.